Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation titled Leveraging Digital Accessibility Tools in the Workplace. My name is Ryan Lottie, and I'm a Technology Adoption Consultant at Education Commons. In the session today, I'm going to go over some learning objectives and then go through technology, starting with captioning and transcription, dictation software, screen reading, explain what alt text is, and touch on some focus and visual fatigue apps. After that, I'll share some campus resources where you can get some more information. The learning objectives for today are to understand the importance of inclusive design in our work. We need to become aware of different accessibility tools and their purpose. And we'll explore how we can leverage technology to work in the best way that suits our needs. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is different types of technology, specifically captioning and transcription technology. So when we talk about captioning and transcription, a lot of times these words are interchanged. The reality being that they're both a little bit different. Transcription refers to the conversation of speech or audio written in plain text, and captioning is a time-coded transcript that's usually associated with a video. If you've used YouTube before, you usually have a chance to turn on captions or closed captions to get a text version of what is being spoken in the video. As you can see at the University of Toronto, we tend to use Microsoft Teams for a lot of interdepartmental meetings, and built right into Microsoft Teams is live captions. And as you can see in the picture, very simply by pressing the three dots, you can actually scroll down and turn on live captions. This can be really useful if there's a lot of people in the same meeting who are talking over each other, and your live captions are going to look kind of like this. So you can see with my live captions, it's going to give a picture of the person speaking, and it's going to use AI to generate a live caption. One thing to note is that these AI generated live captions aren't always perfect, but they can be very useful for folks with hearing impairments or folks who just want to have the option to read some captions at the same time as their meeting. Inside Microsoft Word Online, there's also a transcribe feature. This is a really useful feature if you're typing up a long email or a document and you want to use a speech-to-text type of technology. So inside the online version of Microsoft Word, meaning you have to use it inside your browser, you can easily turn on the transcribe function by clicking the down arrow beside dictate. When you turn on the transcribe function, you can see that Microsoft Word Online will start recording everything you say, save it as an audio file, and then you can also import that transcript or those captions into your document. And here in this example, you can see my name, you can see a timestamp, and you can see the audio file that it is associated with. This is a really great way to get words down on the page without having to type. Microsoft PowerPoint also has subtitles available too. So if you're using the app version or the program version of Microsoft PowerPoint on your computer, you can easily navigate over to the slideshow ribbon and click the button, Always Use Subtitles. When you click that button, you'll have an opportunity to choose where the subtitles are presented, what color they are, how big they are, and even the language they're presented in. This can be super useful if you're giving a presentation in a lecture hall, in a boardroom, or in a meeting room where other people may require captions or live captioning in a different language. If you use the online version of PowerPoint inside your browser, you can also use the Present Live function. Now, Present Live is found again underneath the slideshow ribbon, and this is a really cool feature that will allow different viewers of your presentation the opportunity to have different types of transcripts. And so by turning on that feature, students can actually log into your PowerPoint using their iPhones or their mobile devices and scan the QR code. When students scan the QR code, it gives them a whole lot more functionality of how they interact with your presentation. It will allow the students to choose what kind of subtitles they want, specifically what language they want to be in. It will let the students interact with you by giving you a thumbs up and different emoji responses. And it will let the students or whoever's viewing your presentation rate your presentation by giving you 3 or 4 or 5 stars. Another really great way to generate text to speech, or sorry, speech to text is Otter.ai. If you log into your web browser and type in Otter.ai, you can sign up for a free account at Otter, which again will use AI to generate a transcript of everything you say. In the arrow above me, you can see that you can also add pictures and create your own annotations and highlights as the transcript is being recorded. This is really useful if you're using Otter as the app on your phone. You can take pictures and inlay them with your transcript, making it a very useful way to review notes or study from something that you've recorded. Now we're going to hop into dictation features. So dictation features, we call that speech-to-text technology. It's used to automatically generate text by speaking. Dictation software is usually very expensive, but now it's integrated into a lot of pieces of software and technology, so the price has come down quite a bit. One of the most popular versions is called Dragon Naturally Speaking. Inside your Microsoft Word Online, while we were just talking about Transcribe a minute ago, you can turn on the dictate feature, which will allow you to be able to talk using your computer microphone or your headphone microphone. And a nice dictation will happen of everything you say directly into your Word document. The one caveat being is that it's not going to be super accurate. You can see it's riddled with lots of errors and grammatical mistakes. So it's really just used as a way to get a lot of words into your page, but it will not give you anything that you could send off as an email or send in as a report without doing some significant editing. Dictate is still a really cool feature worth checking out. Windows 10 also has speech recognition built into the device natively. So if you go to your search menu or your Windows button, you can actually type in speech recognition and turn it on. Inside speech recognition, there's a lot of different features that you can use, a lot of options, and it's really handy. So if you just press the record button, Windows will start recognizing speech, and you can actually control a lot of features on your Windows device just using your voice. Here you can see I've turned on the speech recognition and I've opened up Notepad, and it's dictating directly into my Notepad. Again, it's not going to catch a lot of these errors and grammatical mistakes, but it will get some words onto the paper. Google Docs is another awesome tool that's free. You can use Google Docs inside your web browser. And if you have a Gmail account, you likely already have free access to it. If you're using Google Docs to type up an email or an essay, underneath the Tools menu, there is a voice typing feature. When you turn on voice typing, you can literally just start using your microphone to start dictating into your document as well. Now, with both Google and Microsoft products, there are a lot of commands you can learn that are different depending on the platform. So you can say things like period, comma, new paragraph, bold, and you can actually format your dictation as you go, but that takes a little bit more practice. So at first, I would recommend just try out the voice typing tool and the dictation features and see if you can get that to work, and then start learning some of those more advanced features. Inside your Mac OS, there's also a dictation feature built right in. So if you're using a MacBook Pro or an iMac, you can use the same feature similar to what we were just showing on Windows, and you can start dictating. Now, this feature has been moved out of the accessibility menu, and it's actually in the keyboard menu now. And by going to dictation, you can turn it on and turn it off easily. It will use your microphone or your headphones as a way to catch your voice, and you can dictate into any program, app, website, etc. All right, so now let's talk about screen reading. So screen reading, or what we like to call text-to-speech, is a really cool software that can generate an audio playback of a text file. Most commonly in universities, we know Kurzweil, Kurzweil Education, and it's a program that students would often use where they could upload an academic journal and have it read back to them. This technology used to be very expensive as well too, but a lot of these companies like Apple and Microsoft are integrating this software directly into their operating systems. Inside Microsoft Word, for example, there is an immersive reader built in. So once you've typed up an essay and you want to review it or have it read back to you, if you click the immersive reader button, it will turn your document from looking like this to looking like this. And in the top left corner here, you can see I can adjust the column width, the page color, the text spacing, the syllables, and I can even get my Microsoft Word to read my document aloud. Having your document read aloud to you is also a great way to do some final proofreading and edits, things that may not be picked up by your spell check or your grammar check. It can sometimes find some really unique mistakes. Inside your macOS, in the accessibility features, there's also a spoken content feature, which works just like what I've showed you for Microsoft Word. And in this feature is really handy because you can actually now highlight text anywhere, whether it's in a website or in Microsoft Word. And by pressing the hotkeys that you assign, you can have your computer read back that text to you. So in my case, I press Command-Shift-T all at once, and it will reread whatever I've highlighted, which is a really quick and easy way to have spoken content read back to you. Windows 10 also has what's called Narrator. So you can turn that on in your system settings, and that will literally start narrating everything that your computer sees, including where your mouse is, what your mouse is clicking on. Again, this is used more from an accessibility standpoint, but some people really prefer using Windows 10 Narrator. Adobe Acrobat also has a built-in screen reader if you go to the View menu and the Read Aloud function. So if you're opening up a PDF in Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, you can have that read back to you. I will say that generally speaking, the built-in screen readers from Windows and Apple are much better than the Adobe's integrated version. And lastly, I want to share Kurzweil 3000. This software usually comes with a price tag associated to it, and it is a standalone program that can be downloaded on your mobile device, on Windows, and on your Apple device. The cool thing about Kurzweil is that it will OCR code any scanned documents. So if you scan an old letter, it will actually recognize that text. And when you go to read the text back to you, it also highlights and tracks which word is being read, which makes it really easy to follow along, whereas a lot of the other screen readers won't actually track the text at the same time. So that's a feature I really like about Kurzweil 3000. All right, so alt text. I'm sure you've heard of it from an accessibility standpoint, but alt text is basically the written description of an image that increases the accessibility of someone who has to use a screen reader to read your document. So if you have a PDF or a Word document that has some pictures, maybe a company logo, or even just some design images like this slideshow, for example, with the horizontal bars, it's really important to add alt text to all images that are on your document. In this example, I have a basketball going into a hoop, so I've added the alt text, a basketball being thrown into a hoop. Now, if you want to add alt text in Microsoft Word, just simply right-click wherever the image is and click the button Add Alt Text. If you do not want any alt text associated with an image, so in the case of this document, the blue design bars at the very top, I don't need to let the reader know that there's a blue design at the top. You can also add alt text and then mark it as decorative text. And that just means the screen reader is going to skip over that section because it doesn't provide the reader with any additional information. All right, let's talk about focus apps now. So a lot of us working from home now or spending a lot of time staring at our computer screen, it can be super daunting and hard on our eyes. So many apps and operating systems have made significant improvements to improving our focus using those types of devices. The first one I want to show, because I know we use Microsoft Word a lot, is the focus button. And that can be found at the very bottom of your Microsoft Word program. And so in this picture here, right behind me, you can't see it now, there's a focus button. And if I press that focus button, it turns my document from looking like this to looking like this. This can be a really good way to mitigate distractions, but also ease off your eyes from staring at that bright white screen all day. Now just my document is white, the background is all dark colored, and it's going to hopefully not be as distracting with all of the buttons and the options to change font. I like using focus mode when I just need to get some typing done and I'm going to edit my document later. Windows 10 also has a dark mode integrated as well. So again, if you're getting tired of staring at a lot of these white windows and white backgrounds that are often found in websites, turning on dark mode can help minimize the amount of brightness coming off of your screen. Again, I'd say to experiment with this and see if it works for you. Some people find the dark mode to be almost too dark, where it's almost hard to focus for other reasons. Inside your Mac OS Big Sur, the newest update, they have dark mode enabled too. A really cool feature with Mac is that you can have your computer set to light, dark, or auto. Auto is a nice feature, and it's just going to make your screen go into dark mode slowly as the day goes on. So when you're working in the evenings, you're not going to be staring at a bright white screen anymore. It's going to really bring down that brightness a lot and make it a lot easier on your eyes. Inside Mac as well, there's a ton of accessibility features. Something like voice control. You can now control your entire computer using Siri to open programs, close programs, send emails. It's amazing. You can change the size of the pointers. I highly recommend going through accessibility settings in your Mac device just to see what's out there for you. I've made a lot of personal changes in my own laptop, and I found it has really helped with productivity and just usability of my device altogether. Windows 10 has similar features, which is called ease of access, and that has a ton of accessibility features as well too, where you can change how big text appears, color contrast, color filters, even changing the cursor and pointer sizes can be really useful, especially if you're like me and you sometimes have a hard time tracking down your cursor. That can be a really useful feature too. Productivity. So when it comes to productivity, there are an unlimited amount of apps on the market. Microsoft has some really great and free tools that help increase productivity. But definitely, if you're ever in the App Store or in the Android Store, Google Play, check out some of the productivity apps because a lot of them are really great. The first one I wanted to show you is called Microsoft OneNote, which is a program that's often overlooked when we talk about the Office 365 suite. So Microsoft OneNote basically acts as a digital notebook, which means it's really good for organization and customization of notes. It's becoming more commonly used by students so they can separate by course, keep everything organized really nicely, but it also has an application in a professional setting where you can start creating individual pages and folders for things like meetings, committees, projects, etc. But one of the best features I like about OneNote is its ability to audio record. So right by that green arrow, you can see there's an audio button. And if I'm inside my Microsoft OneNote and press record, my computer is going to start picking up everything with the microphone that I'm saying or that perhaps someone in the meeting room is saying. So now I can type meeting notes and my computer is going to record what is being said at the same time. The nice thing is once I'm done recording and the meeting is over, now I can review my meeting minutes, but I have an audio file that is perfectly synced up with everything I've typed into my meeting minutes. And if I hover over agenda number 1, introductions, I can now press play and know exactly what was being said when I type the word introductions. I would recommend letting anyone know you're recording them if that's something you plan to do, but it is a really great feature that I think you're going to start seeing being used a lot more. Microsoft To Do. So this is a really great productivity app. It's used for kind of for project management and checking off tasks, making sure you're staying kind of on track for what you need to be doing. The nice thing about this is you can schedule events. It syncs up with your calendar nicely. And it also has a Microsoft Outlook online integration. So now, because it integrates so nicely with your Outlook, it'll actually pick up on things and add things to your to-do list that maybe you forgot about. So if I have told someone I will share a PowerPoint, to do might just say, hey, Ryan, you didn't actually follow up with this. Do you want to add this to your calendar? Sure. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's really intuitive in picking up on things you may have missed. Another app I want to share is called Forest. There is a paid version of this app, but it's a really cool app that works in browser and also as a smartphone app. And this just is a nice way that you can set aside certain amounts of time to be productive and work on something. And so in this example, I've set up for 25 minutes. And if I work for the full 25 minutes on a proposal, or maybe I'm a student and I'm writing an essay, if I work for the full 25 minutes, my app will let me know, hey, congratulations, you were productive for 25 minutes. And it will also plant a tree in real life on my behalf, which is a really cool feature of the Forest app. It's an app that's won tons of awards. Highly recommend checking that out if you have trouble with productivity. One of the last things I wanted to share as well is when we're inside using Microsoft Outlook, a lot of us have an email signature that gets attached to our emails. At the very bottom of my email signature in blue, you can see it says connect with me on Microsoft Teams. And by clicking that link, it's going to let that user directly, it's going to open up their Microsoft Teams and start a conversation with me. So now by using this code right above me here, if you add in your own email address, you can link that in your signature. And now people have a much easier way to connect with you on Microsoft Teams instead of copying and pasting your email and opening up the Microsoft Teams and then sending you a message. This is a one-click solution that will hopefully speed up that process. That's it for all of the tools I wanted to share today with accessibility and how you can leverage some of these in the workplace. If you require accommodations or accessible technology or accessible support, I highly recommend, if you're a student, reaching out to accessibility services. And if you're a staff or faculty, reach out to the Department of Human Resources and Equity. They can help support you in stuff that goes above and beyond what I've talked about today. That's it for the presentation today. Thank you so much for taking the time to view this again, and we'll see you next time.